And here we are, post 100, another Mike and Mike's off-air podcast. Mike O'Neill Afternoons, the new My 97.5.
Mike Pesto with you as well, back to the confines of our studio after the great hospitality from Al and the whole family at Good Times Cafe. We ate rather well, and thank you again, Al, for that cake. That was phenomenal.
Was a really nice touch. And yeah, this is like, it's always glad to be hanging out with you, but I don't have a double dreaming today. Just, you can send one if you want. But.
In fact, little tidbit, I don't know if you know this, but the video that Al sent us from the airport to congratulate us on a 100th podcast.
Hey guys, 100th podcast. We're in the restaurant today. I wish I was there, but you'll probably have 1,000 more. So congratulations on the next 100 and next 1,000 podcasts. Congratulations, guys.
The most viewed video in the history of our YouTube channel.
Gotta love the guys from Good Times Cafe, because folks just do. I mean, all through the pandemic, all through everything. I mean, they hung, they're there. I'm going as soon as I can.
So this is fun this week in that usually I come in with 2 or 3 things and we get to as many as we can. I'm going in blind this week. You've got the reins. You've got the lead. What's going on? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I had an interesting experience. My son, my special adult son, and I love to go to his alma mater high school's football games. We're going Friday. We went last Friday. Last Friday, it was a great football game, with the exception, right towards the end, a late hit that turned into an absolute 2 benches emptying brawl.
Oh, boy.
Brawl on the field that resulted in 3 of the opposing players' teams being ejected.
Okay.
And brain stopped working. And what do they do when you can't come and play anymore?
Suspended?
Suspended.
Okay.
And two of the Mission Oak players as well.
Okay, so suspended for that game or for the rest of the season?
No, I think they got suspended for a game.
That game.
I heard.
Okay.
I'm not an expert
more,
there, but the point was they applied penalties. But it was just, I didn't like the idea of it, of the brawl breaking out, and I didn't like some of what I heard in the stands. I was sitting on the Mission Oak side, so the Mission Oak players were ejected first, and then boos erupted. And I thought to myself, no, not boo.
Yeah.
They messed up. Sorry that you guys got it, your movements got ahead of what you really probably stand for most of the time, but you made a mistake and there's a penalty. And I just didn't like what it might say about the culture there. And I'm not accusing the culture of anything. I'm just saying.
Oh, I will.
If
we get to that.
But I'm saying it wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
I mean, be prepared, be strong, be aggressive, but leave it on the field. It has nothing to do with the culture. That's not what it's about. I was telling our general manager about this, and he looked at me, and Paul Carter is big into rugby.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and just said, no. On the field, the way the rugby culture is, they don't put up with that crap. It's the hardest game you'll ever play. But that's not how the culture responds, and that is not looked at well. And it was disappointing, I had to say.
It would be if I had seen it myself as well. I'm a little surprised, and maybe there are rules, so you have to stick within the rules of what happens, what can officials do, and what can they not do in a situation like this. If I was one of the officials on the field, one of the referees, I would be tempted, and maybe there was some temptation, to call the game. Now, because I think you mentioned a little bit about this, that not only the players on the field got involved, but the players on the sidelines ran onto the field.
Yeah, I think the benches, to some degree, the benches did empty because it got busy in there for a minute, and all over a late hit, which sucks. But guess what, guys? There are penalties in place. Someone would have been penalized for that, and it would have cost them 15 yards, or I think it's 15 yards, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It didn't require bench assistance to help the refs enforce the late hit.
My thinking is, as an official referee on the field, as soon as anyone from the sidelines comes in, be it a coach, to argue or a player to get involved in the melee. Game is suspended. Referees get together. If they feel it's warranted, that game is forfeited by both teams, or whichever one was the one that had players go on the field. And if both teams had players go on the field, both teams get a loss. That's it. No questions. But again, I don't know what the rules are for that particular contest.
I don't either, but based on how long it took to get to the final result, that was definitely on the table. Because
Okay.
otherwise it would have been, okay, you guys out. No, I think the game was in jeopardy and it was being discussed in the stands. Said, I think we're done. I mean, we were. It was being discussed quite, diligently all over the place. We really kind of thought the game was over, and then it's like, well, look, hey, they're setting up. They're going for it again. Let's see how long this play lasts.
And that's where I would have wanted the game to be forfeited, losses on both sides, to teach a lesson.
Yeah.
These are still kids in high school that need to have that learning moment, and especially for the coaches. If the discipline has not been instilled in their players by the coaches, shame on them as well. And hopefully the athletic directors of those two schools took the coaches aside at some point the following week and said, hey, one more time, you're out.
Yeah, because again, you're helping to grow, and sometimes where needed, adjust the culture. Because I remember when I was in high school, I'm not going to mention the team by name that I'm about to discuss because there's no need to cast aspersions. But there was a team that my high school played in Southern California, that's as close as I'll get, every single year, that had a reputation for playing dirty, for injuring players on purpose, and for just generally causing chaos. I mean, you could get in a fight walking on their property getting to the game. And that was just the nature. And I just remember always thinking, why?
Unfortunately, and this gets to the culture of things, it's not an excuse, but it's not surprising based on what we see at the highest level of sports when it comes to the NFL. Granted, it didn't lead to fists being thrown, but there was an incident the first game of the season this year involving players spitting on each other.
Yeah, and what does that say? These kids, just like all kids, are looking for mentors. And oftentimes, pro sports figures are mentors insofar as I really love Dak Prescott, or I really love such and such, and I have a lot of respect for him. But anybody that saw those two spitting each other and thought, oh, that's so gangster. No, it's not. It's just bad sportsmanship. And no one said they have to be role models, but to a degree, how about grown-ups?
Yeah,
Can they be grown-ups?
You are a role model when you are a professional athlete, whether you want to be or not. Charles Barkley had the whole ad campaign years ago. I'm not a role model. It was, I'm assuming, tongue-in-cheek even back then, because too bad, so sad. Yes, you are. Yeah. Whether you want to wear that title proudly or not, that's the case. I can't remember the name of the player. He was a linebacker for the Raiders. I think he played on the Broncos as well. He was, at the time, thought of as one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. You did not want to be on the bottom of a fumble pile with him, because he would grab in places you should not be grabbing purposefully, knowing that the officials can't see what's going on. So I'm going to grab a handful of whatever I can to let you know that ball is ours, and so are these, basically. And I remember, the Saints years ago, and I forget the name of the head coach who lost his job for a couple years. He's back in the NFL now because they had a bounty, basically, that the defensive players had on certain players on the other team every week. Hey, if you get this guy knocked out, you'll get a bonus, basically.
And that's the culture of that team at the time. And is that really what you want to be known for?
In a sense, yeah, because not in a good way, but that's what they did want to be known for, because word got around in the NFL, hey, there's a bounty on your head in this game, just so you know, so just be careful.
Hope that rattles you.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Which is why you need to step in, going back to the high school level, and say, you know what, maybe it's an overreaction to forfeit the game and 2 losses on both sides, but you know what? This is the first, second, maybe third game of the year at that point. We got to keep this in check. And I've been to high school games as well where it gets beyond just a little chippy and a little pushing after a penalty, but that's why you have the flags.
Yeah.
15-yard penalty, roughing the passer, whatever it is. That happens in sports, especially in football. You have the penalty, you take your yardage, you want to shut the other team up, score on them.
Right.
Period. End of sentence.
Leave it on the field. It's a good time to step back, take a look. What does your culture say right now? Do you like the way it looks or not?
And I'll take this beyond sports. Charlie Kirk,
Yeah.
he was speaking. You may disagree with what he had to say, and we don't know all the facts at this point yet. So I'm not even going to begin to speculate. But all suspicion seems to look at he was assassinated because of stances that he took, and making those stances very public. This is where we are. Violence is what you use now to quiet someone on the field of play, to quiet someone with political discourse. Is this really where we are? That's a rhetorical question, because apparently that's exactly where we are.
And that has nothing to do with the foundation of this country. And ironically, on a university, which is supposed to be a place where multiple people can discuss different views,
Yep.
just to discuss them, to look into them. I don't have to agree with you. I don't want to agree with you. And that's okay. But we can discuss it and give somebody an opportunity to show me a different side of that. It has nothing to do with violence or forcing someone to your side. Simply looking at it and looking at different sides of a course. Should be perfectly free to do simply that.
What changed, though? Because it's not that now. It's not as bad to this point as it was in the 60s. There's been one assassination to this point. There were multitudes back then. There are many, though, that are fearful it's leading in that direction. You look at our society right now as a whole, not just political, but in sports and everything else. Go online and see some of the discourse there between people. It just seems like we're wired to get riled up. There are certain things based in, allegedly, I better cover myself, with X in particular, that the algorithm with X purposely shows you things that they know, one, is going to get you riled up, and two, spend more time on X because you are more riled up.
Social media is nothing but polarization right now, which is why I don't spend a lot of time on it, because I can be angry all by myself. I don't need help from social media. I just, it's just, what about compassion? What about giving somebody a break? What about giving somebody some grace? These are the things that our country was built on, and it seems like we need to get back to those.